Campos put the last of his hidden sandwich in his mouth. Luckily, the gunnery sergeant didn't see him. The Buenos Aires Auxiliary Section provided many hidden places, so many in fact the warrant officer Campos kept finding enlisted ranks in the stacks all the time. With the pastrami and cheese sandwich finished, Campos began the return trip back to the crew office. Tall machines continued to produce replacement parts for the Buenos Aires and other supporting starships in the constellation. He whistled as he worked like the famous song, the sound bouncing off machines in a cavernous room. He checked his chrono. 2 months left before he returned back to the Argentina system from deployment. A picture of his little girl appeared on his arm, one finger touching the screen and rubbing it the way he does at home. Deep in memory, the screen on his arm then turned a bright red. Klaxons blared. Campos turned his head right then to the left, trying to find out what the problem was. Magnetic and activated his helmet. Within seconds, the helmet unfolded around his head and closed. Air hissed from vents into the helmet. Campos ran towards the crew room until he heard a scream. Reports of carbine fire exploded all over the local comms network. He moved slowly to the crew office. That was the first time he heard the skittering, metal on metal clicking. He looked around the room, he couldn't find anything. A couple more steps brought him closer to the edge of the machine stacks. The sound of production lifting slightly. Gauss carbines fired at a distance, echoing down the hallways. Clicking sounds were now all around him. He moved closer to the machines. Campos was unarmed. Whatever was out there was not friendly. The duplicator could make a carbine and ammo for him. When he reached the machine, it was closed and running. He tried to cancel the production, but he had to wait. The current production was almost finished. In the meantime, he looked around the machine to the crew office. On the ground lay his gunnery sergeant. Blood pooled around his head and body. He turned back to the machine when it was finished, now in panic mode. The door slid open and a drone was inside. Campos never saw that type of drone before. It was roughly a meter long and it looked like a spider. 3 loud thumps behind him. He turned to see 3 more of the drones. Suddenly, he felt a weight on his back. The drone jumped on his back and closed in. Campos tried to move, but he couldn't. His helmet broke away and a sliver went into his plugs on the back of his neck. He grew weak and soon collapsed, never to wake again.